Alright, I'm gonna record this. This is what I'm gonna call MooseTalks, where I just doodle, and I'm going to pick a topic, and then just draw stuff. Today's topic is cats and anatomy. Mainly because I said so. And I made my canvas black and white because that's how this is gonna be. I'm gonna have fun doodling in this dark area and also the other area. And I should lock the layers because I'm a dingus. There we go. No, I can't change. But yeah, so I guess I'll start off with anatomy. Maybe I'll even explain a little bit. That'd be interesting. Most of my anatomy I got from Proco. And other online sources where I used Google Images. I really do recommend that you do some self-study that way and just actually draw the anatomy. It helps. There's other things about the human body that I'm actually kind of figuring out now. Like, I was just studying fat and skin folds the other day, and now I'm kind of just doodling. I want to make more videos. I don't know what it'll be about. Like, this is about as good as I think I can figure out. Is choosing a topic to draw and having fun. But yeah. I actually think back views aren't really drawn enough. They're actually really enjoyable, and there's a lot of different kinds of muscles here at play. I think I know all the torso muscles aside from well, actually no, I know all the torso muscles. I don't know the leg muscles. That's the issue. Like, I know that the quads exist. I know that there's the quad, like the fourth quad is underneath all the others. But I only know that because of Proco. Like, I wouldn't have cared. And also, I didn't know how to draw them until I looked up some sculpting images on Google of like ZBrush sculpts and actual people's legs, and what I saw, I actually draw it, and I'll get a photo probably here in a second. I saw this kind of butt-like form, like your knee has a butt, because both these muscles are squeezing so hard on the tendon right here. There's a tendon right between these that connects to the knee, but it's like these muscles on the outside are kind of squeezing it in, and then there's this kind of interesting fold that happens where it like goes into the bone of the leg, and it's not just kind of on the outside instantly. It just kind of sits there. I thought that was neat. And I have work today, so I'm just gonna watch the time. I'm probably fine though. It's got lots of hours. But yeah, here we go. This is how I draw a leg. And in fact, I used to draw it pretty bad because of Bridgman. Like, basically, I didn't study Bridgman. I looked at what he drew and was drawing one leg pose a long time ago. That was kind of dumb. I got, getting good at one pose as opposed to actually understanding. And I say it's dumb because, like, understanding means I can, like, now turn this in space. Because, and I'll use a different color to indicate it. I know which directions this goes. It's also subsequently why I talk about plane changes. Although I don't usually call them plane changes, but now I'm realizing it's exactly what I'm doing. It's what painters talk about usually. I just do it with like two planes to turn it into a box. So like I'll grab a shape. Actually illustrate it with this. And then I will grab red again. And as you can see, I put an angle on it. And this is literally just so I can put it in a box. Like, if you know how to do this, you can pretty much put anything into a box, which is kind of kind of interesting. And then if you want to add perspective, you would actually add the lines or whatever, but yeah, it's neat to know that you can do that. I'm gonna delete that. And back to the reference, I'm gonna actually pull out a reference right now. I'm actually gonna turn down the music. Well, I'll turn it down for me, I'll raise it for you guys. That way, it's less blaring in my ears, but you guys can enjoy it. I don't know what the proper, like, audio level would be for this. I probably need to put an amplify filter on it or something. But, regardless, like, I just put music on that's royalty-free on SoundCloud, just for a chill kind of background environment. Leg. Anatomy sculpt. And what you'll find is a lot of leg anatomy sculpts, because the sculptors will study this. I saw some really interesting ones that showed me the forms, and it was kind of neat. Like this one. I'll put this in here. I think this is Sheriff Dodd. I can't remember. He's pretty decent about anatomy. I actually looked him up at some point. I didn't study him, though. I just thought it was cool. He's the guy who was circulating, doing the weird hand flexing. Which is awesome, though. You can clearly see the indication, and I can get any, like, muscles. The thing is also, like, I can get, muscular leg. I gotta be careful with that. Muscular leg images of, like, actual people with, like, really built up legs. And you can see the same forms. There's, like, a pinching right between these two muscles that tends to happen. And sometimes it's subtle because we have skin. Hey, that's another thing. It's not gonna be super cut, but I'm using lines, so of course mine looks a little bit different. I could make it more subtle and just not have it connect as much, but yeah. There you go. That's, legs. I think it's cool. And this is basically just gonna be a sketch dump of sorts, where I, like, just doodle some stuff and talk. Maybe I'll post it, I don't know. Be fun. In fact, that's the key word for me, is fun. I really think artists should have fun doing stuff. And if you play in your own skill level, you definitely can have fun. In my mind, it's, you're playing with what you know. That's all I can say. So it's a lot easier to mess with stuff if you know it. That's about the gist of it. But back to anatomy. I'm actually gonna finish doing this guy's anatomy. And I'm doing this off the noggin, no reference. A lot, but it's worth knowing. Because if you're gonna be doing this for the rest of your life, like, you'd want to take it seriously. So just drawing it helps a lot. In fact, like, Broco has some muscles, like right here, that exist, where, like, there are these kind of tubes that go down the back after, like, this part. Like, it's, like, kind of neat to know. I didn't really draw the triceps correctly. Like, I generally don't, because I'm lazy and I'd have to look up the angle. I don't even remember what the angle is. So, like, you wouldn't notice that if you're not paying attention, but people that are really into anatomy probably would. There's, like, an angle to the way that the muscles are. I think it's actually inwards. I noticed this, actually, is that the flow lines for most muscles, front-facing you, tend to go inwards. But the bones kind of tilt the other way. Kind of nutty. Because what happens in the leg bone with the actual, like, bottom is it does this. So your ankle is, like, a separate bone from this, and then blah blah blah. It's kind of like this, and it hooks into your foot. But yeah, that's kind of what happens. But yeah, so if it goes inwards, just like the arm muscles do, be angled like this, and I think if I remember correctly, there's like a small muscle down here, so like this is kind of like how it works, and then the head. I just don't tend to like indicate this as much. If I wanted like really muscular people with like super low percentages of body fat, I probably would do that. I just don't have a need to do that. Even my figures that I draw that are muscular, they have fat. Like, it's because I believe it's like a normal thing on the human body. Is that that people have like a small amount of body fat percentage plus their skin that equals out to them looking a little bit more nuanced than just this kind of écrochet. And écrochet is like a French term. I think most artists know it. I don't know though. Where they're kind of like skinned models and like showing the anatomy like bare kind of. I don't know what the actual term means, but yeah. I know of them. And they can be useful. I don't know what's playing right now. It's a vibe. I put a random playlist on Spotify, not Spotify, on SoundCloud. And it should be copyright free. Should be. I hope not. I hope it is. That'd suck if this video had to be taken down just because of it or whatever. And there you go. There's the sketch, and I will actually color a little bit so it's easier to see, and I'll do it with form lines. In fact, I'll do the angle thing maybe. Maybe. But yeah, I recommend not getting just anatomy from me or just copying me. Like, it's fun to draw along with, but I would definitely do your own research because this is just secondhand information in my mind. Like, I'm not perfect at anatomy. And if I wanted to be accurate, I would look up images. I don't often. I don't actually want to be accurate because I draw cartoonish kind of stuff, but I want a sensibility of like realism and anatomy in my drawings, so like that's why I learned it. Also, I can draw figures from imagination with it now. The biggest thing is gesture, which is its own can of worms that I had to like kind of decipher, and still vaguely am. I think we'll get to cats eventually here. But yeah, actually, I should have stayed on the blue. I forgot a muscle. I just want to color code it so you can see what's going on. That's about it. And it's fun. So like the shoulder muscles, there's actually like 2 of them. If I remember correctly, this one right here, this is the one that goes underneath the arm into the bicep or something. I know that the latissimus dorsi, the lats right here, this big kind of like cape muscle, this goes underneath the arm. It actually attaches to the humerus bone, like your arm bone, your upper arm bone. So I have slowly picked up insertion stuff, but that took time. And really, like, noticing it now, I realize, like, all artists are just continuously learning anatomy, or, like, little things in anatomy. The nuances, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool to know. So, like, I'm not alone. It's like, oh, dang. Kind of awesome. I don't know what this is. Not my kind of entire vibe of music. I'm pretty eclectic and I'm okay with most things, but this is a bit odd to me. Let's see if I can skip it. I don't know. I gotta be careful. Let's see what we got. I want cinematic. Sports fitness workout, maybe. What's in here? Oh, jeez. This is a preview file. No. That's kind of chill. I like that. It's not quite what I was looking for, but I'm fine with that. Yeah, and when I was studying anatomy, I did this basically from like reference images, or Proco. Usually, it was first Proco, then reference images. Like I just use Google and like find anatomy charts and just start drawing them out flat, and then I would pose them afterwards. Like that was like the best kind of teaching that I can think of, as well as learning the angle thing. Like that, like you can put anything in a box because that means you can rotate, flip, and like do all kinds of things. And that took a while for me to come to, actually. It's an idea and concept in my head. It's something I put in a book that I'm writing. Because I think it's that important. Also, the bottom leg area like splits into two muscles, and then there's tendons connecting it to the bottom of the leg. Like these are two separate muscles. And I forgot the trapezius, which has a really odd shape. Like when I look at it, because there's like a weird pinch right here where that like goes down into the other part. But yeah. I'm gonna try not to talk about stuff that like agitates me, so this will be a chill video. I'm gonna continue to do stuff like this. It's probably healthier too. But yeah, I don't want to do the other side. I just want to leave that side. There we go. You get our little anatomy chart. The arm muscles I actually studied a while ago because I was like, I need to actually learn this. Like, I want to draw actual arm muscles and not have a worry. And what I mean by people learn anatomy, like after they're done like learning more muscle stuff, they're probably moving on to like little minute details like veins and stuff popping out the arms if they want to make it that muscular. I'm almost certain now. I don't know though. It just makes sense. Like if you mastered like drawing arms and stuff, like why not do details? Right. And it'll come. And then they get like nuance of muscles and stuff. So it's like these artists that tell you like they have that, or not tell you, but you see them and they have like this amazing skill of like rendering muscles flexing and doing all this sort of stuff. I think why they emphasize teaching it is because like it's good to know early on if you can. I am not one of those artists. I think I'll probably like gradually learn it over time, who knows. But it's good to know that that might have been the case. Or maybe they're academic and they learned it really quickly. I don't know. I'm just not trying to do that. Because like even with this, like this is stylized anatomy as well. Like this isn't 100% accurate. But I actually embrace the imperfections of some art. It doesn't mean just be imperfect all the time, but like you're not gonna be 100% in control of it. So like happy accidents can happen for me and stuff, and I let I let the finished drawing be or the sketch be the finished drawing now. I didn't used to do that. That took a while, and I was like, oh wait, no, like I gotta set my ego aside to let something like this be the finished drawing. And that was an interesting thing to come to in my mind. So yeah, that's anatomy. The front's pretty similar too. Something I saw TB Choi do on like a stream or something, which is really cool, was this kind of thing, like this fan with the lats and like the serratus muscles on the front of the torso. That was dope. Like, let me draw that and show you what I saw. I was like, yo, that is a great way of simplifying the serratus muscles. That is actually really cool. So like I stole it, I nicked it. That's mine now. Yeah, so like we'll get this, blah blah blah. Get his boobs. I'll just add the lat here. Just assume this is the lat. And we'll add some pet, because now I know like how they insert into the abs vaguely. So like you have the first one that kind of just sits under the pec, which is interesting. I didn't think about that. But they basically like kind of fan out, and then they attach. I also even noticed this in Kim Jong Yi, by the way, back when I saw some of his skeletons. The idea isn't always to be 100% accurate, even though they can. Like, I'm almost certain he knew how to do that. But his skeletons didn't have, like, the exact amount of ribs or something like that. Or like I saw Joe Mad do that too, which is a comic artist, and it's like, his ribs were not 100% accurate. It was like simplified. Why? Because like our brains kind of vaguely understand the symbols. But you see how quickly I drew the serratus muscles like that. Like it feels good too. Like it feels solid. Yeah. And I tend to do a lot of this that you see on the bottom of the abs. Like I tend to indicate things. I don't really draw them out, like popping out like they're cut, like they're super cut. Because like skin is on top of our bodies, so I like when I'm drawing people, I generally do that. Generally, I guess I really love anatomy. Like I have realized this. It's also why it's a great topic for me to talk about. Probably, I don't think I'm a master. I don't really want to be, but I can teach you some of the basics maybe, and give you tools. Like I definitely would. I respect Proco for like putting out free information and tutorials on the subject like that. That was kind of good. It saved me from having to look at books all the time and like search for stuff and knowledge. And I got Michael Hampton. I got Bridgman books. Like I have a whole set of Bridgman, and I have Michael Hampton in real life. I bought those books, but I didn't really get information out of them because I had learned it on the internet beforehand, and I thought I would get something out of it, which is kind of sad. Like the only thing I got on Michael Hampton was like the staggering forms, which also Proco talks about. So like I was doing it with Proco a little bit earlier, so I didn't get much out of them because I already learned it at that point. Are they good books? Probably. Do I think I have a specific taste for a specific kind of book when I look at it? Like the Morpho books are really good in my mind. A gesture book by Walt Stanchfield I'd recommend for beginners because it has almost all the foundational basics that you'll need about like a mannequin model, drawing gesture, using different forms, perspective, overlap. Like that's all stuff that he covers, and he's like a Disney gesture artist, and his drawings are super rough, and they're not like anatomical. It's mostly like the foundations of what you will build anatomy onto, because I don't think anatomy is an art skill. I think it's more of a memorization skill. And the only reason I say that is because like anatomy is not really art related. Like it could be science related. It could be anything. Like it's not anything, but like it's not specifically art is what I'm trying to get at. It's like looking at cats and then you want to draw a cat. Well, it's not, you're just not looking at art all the time, although you could stylistically look at how people do it, but that's not the point. So yeah, there's some anatomy, it's fun. I'm trying to think of what kind of anatomy I would go over next, but I think that's the biggest ones. Like I know all the muscles. This is actually the gluteus medius. I generally don't draw this like side. Like I mean this is like a quad, but like there's a couple muscles like right here in the inner thigh that don't really get drawn much, as well as like yeah, I think it's mainly the inner thigh. There's like a lot of crotch and inner thigh muscles that don't really get drawn because I don't have a purpose to know them. Like, I'm not flexing that area. But yeah, it's entertaining. So I'm actually gonna shrink this down. We're gonna keep it on the screen because it's fun to look at. Just gonna have that in the corner. Just gonna live up there for right now. Be a little bit smaller. Oh yeah, I have room to draw. And we're gonna look up cats. Maybe, because I can't really think of anything else off the top of my head. I plan on making like cat people and thundercats and stuff, and like other goofy cat related things in anatomy. There's Anthros in like the furry community, but I don't know if I'll go down there. I could. It's just a place. I think people, I'm not gonna talk about it, but it's like, the only thing I'll say is there's a kind of prudish attitude towards things, to be afraid or like squeamish, and I just like, I don't have time for it. It's like, it's just whatever they're doing. I don't care. I'm pretty apathetic about a lot of things, which not entirely a bad thing. It means I go places other people don't. So I'm gonna look up, honestly, I do this while sculpting. I look up cat skulls, or like anatomy. So like, let's look up a lion skull. That could be fun, and I'll put it in my document to show. God, they got such big skulls. They're so interesting. They're stranger than I thought. Like, I thought they were. Well, I think normal cat skulls are actually pretty similar. I think their features are just bigger. When I remember. So I actually, like, when I sculpt, I usually get like a couple references. And I'm not gonna sculpt right now, but the reason I do that is so I can kind of get an idea of what each angle looks like. And for skulls, like, you're gonna find tons of references at different angles, so it's actually not a big deal.
A little bit more perspective.
Not usually.
Under the stars, everyone feels small.
Although this looks like it's decent enough view. Let me think about if I need anything else. Maybe the back. Maybe the back area.
Really don't seem to matter at all anymore.
What I did learn from sculpting skulls, though, and making animals and creatures, that's really fascinating. Like, you get nuance into that. You realize the position of where the spine sockets in is super important to how their neck and like skeletal structure functions. Because the spine will like come straight out of there, and generally animals on quadruped animals like lions and dogs and stuff have it coming straight out the back of the skull, rather, like, compared to us, like, we have it coming down below. So they, like, anatomically, like, that's kind of a different feature when you really look into it, and it's kind of fascinating. Eyes are also fascinating because not all predators have front-facing eyes. Some do, but then you have like fish, so it's not true all the time. Also, predators tend to have smaller eyes, which I find funny, unless they're like birds or kind of like hawks where they use their eyes incessantly. But like sharks, bears, lions, pretty tiny looking eyes compared to their body and their heads. That's kind of neat. So let's see. I think that's good. I'll start drawing a skull now. It'll be fun. I think I'm gonna stop at like 10 maybe. So be here for like another hour. And yeah. I'm trying to figure out how I want to break down this form. So they got like this kind of, I see this tube. Like, I see this. Like, their nose is a tube on top of their face, and then they have this kind of like bony protrusion type thing going on with their teeth. Also, saber-toothed tigers aren't related to cats, by the way. They're like a different branch, which is kind of neat. If you didn't know that. Cat facts. Let's go. But yeah, no, they're not the same family. Or I think they're same. I don't remember. I'd have to look it up, but they're not the same, which is kind of neat. I didn't know that until I looked it up. Because I was more curious about saber-toothed tigers, and it's like, yeah, no, that's weird. Kind of cool. I still don't know where the back of the skull kind of loops in, and I should probably draw that out first. Yeah, the teeth. I often don't copy because I want to test my memorization skills more. Like, I'll do it first off, like now. But once I get it, I pretty much have it. I'm a pretty quick learner. Like, I haven't drawn cat skulls. but like one thing I noticed about other animals, like horses, for instance, their heads are mainly triangular. Same thing with deer. It's kind of wacky how close their heads are shaped. Like they're almost they're eerily similar. Is all I'm saying. Which I found fascinating. I don't know what it's playing. Still a chill vibe though. Like I'm okay with that. There we go. There's a cat. There's a cat. Yeah, boys. Let's draw a front view. They got kind of a heart-shaped nose, which makes me smile. And all I'm doing is copying right now. Also, this is something I noticed in animals. They're right here. Their zygomatic arch. No, that's not the zygomatic. I think it is the zygomatic arch actually, because usually on the human it would be right here, and it's the cheekbone. Whatever this arch is, I think it's the zygomatic arch. That isn't usually connected in some animals. I don't know what causes that, but it doesn't seem to bother them. I just think it's fascinating. A little another like tidbit about like looking at how anatomy's drawn and like realizing that. Another thing is this kind of like shape back here. Apes have that. Like a lot of apes have this thing called a sagittal crest, which some don't, some do. Like we definitely don't, but it exists. It's kind of fascinating. So like apes have this kind of like skull-like fin. I don't know what it. I can't remember. I think it's like a jaw muscle thing. Like it attaches to the jaw. I mean, the jaw attaches to it, but yeah. Cats are actually really well put together machines. Like they're just ready to tear into things. Like look at them. No wonder they're lazy in the wild. Like I honestly don't know what their predator would be. Like they don't have anything like attacking them. Like they have things that they provoke, like say like hyenas don't, like they're afraid of them. But then you got like hippos or all these other animals, like yeah, no, they have to provoke them to make them want to, like for them to be attacked, but they don't need to. There you go. So we got this. And now I'm gonna try to, well, I should probably do the bottom part too. Okay, so now I'm gonna like kind of look at it a bit and like get the vibe. I didn't really draw that crest right either. I should. So like it kind of does this kind of weird triangle thing in the back. I wonder if that's consistent. Probably is. But yeah, apparently the jaw muscles, because I think this is what, like a temple thing, so like the temple, I guess if it's up there, like the temple would extend to up there too. I'm not too sure. I'd look at some lion anatomy or something. I'll actually look right now. It's like type in muscles, lion anatomy muscles, and see what's up there. Because that's my assumption, is that the jaw muscles are like going up there, and I think that's right. That's what the temple and the mandible do. Actually, I can't remember what the temple muscle is. I think it's a jaw thing. I can't remember though. That's exactly where they connect though. I can clearly see it, see? But yeah. I'm gonna look. I actually want to know what the temple muscle does. Is it for jaw strength or something? What is it? Like, what are they for? Yeah, it's chewing. It's a chewing muscle. So that was right. Interesting that the side of your head is also a chewing muscle. It looks like it connects down into the jaw with a tendon, so it makes sense. It's kind of neat to know. Yeah. Now that I know the shape, it's pretty much just like an elongated cylinder of sorts. Or not cylinder, egg shape. Like it's kind of like this. And then I can like layer on top of it. And I guess it's a heart. I think that's kind of funny. That amuses me. Yeah. Like, knowing that now I can play with it, I'd probably draw a center line though, so I can know where I'm drawing. And now I know that I can, like, pretty much play with the skull. I'm kind of being lazy, but make sure this goes here. And then the teeth, I didn't draw that on the side. I don't know if you can really see them easily. They are there. And this isn't gonna be 100% accurate cat. Like, I'm not trying to draw accuracy. I think people misunderstand that. I'm trying to understand. That way I can, like, cartoonify it usually, or stylize it in my own way. I tend to do that. I'm not going for perfection. If I did, I'd get a camera. Like, that's, honestly, like, that's what it feels like for me, specifically. But I think you can have a certain level of realism and then also have fun. That is what I enjoy. Some people have other tastes, and that's okay. Where is it? So we got this. I don't know how they, I guess they would, like, lock underneath of it. It's kind of neat. It's giving me alligator vibes the way I drew it, because the nose isn't protruded up enough. And I can fix that really quick. Like, I'd have to basically, like, boop the nose out. Just a little bit. And just be like, oh, this is the nose. This is the nose now. I like that it's a heart shape. That's kind of fascinating. I could just, like, stylize it that way now. If I felt like it. Like, oh, it's obviously a cat nose. Obviously. This kind of part annoys me. I don't know how that kind of sections off in there. It feels lopsided because I drew that up. There we go. And then I guess I don't know if you could see that though. It could be like this. And then you'd have wherever the kind of jawbone goes in. Also, this doesn't work like a normal cheek. I noticed it's like coming down, and like the cheek is somewhere here lost in the bone. And it's probably why there's a hole right here, because like this would be the hole on a human jaw. Like, let me draw a human skull, where it's like right here, this kind of thing. It's probably that. If you want to know like how to draw heads, I definitely recommend learning the skull. It is super important. I don't even draw skulls correctly because I'm not trying to go for academic proportions. I probably could. I tried in the past. I'm not good at it. I don't study it. I'm trying to get a little bit better. Like, also a big thing I realized from a front view, even with my own head, is there's like a spacing, like an eyeball spacing between this and the ear, like the eyeball and the ear. It's kind of neat to know, proportionally. Something I think I saw in anime and I looked at and I was like, that's right, is that jaw lines are kind of at an angle. Just kind of neat. And I think Kumjingi did this too. It's like, this is kind of neat. Like, they're actually a little bit at an angle, and then you can have like the muzzle or whatever. But yeah, neat to know. Yeah, there we go. We got our skull. Go back to cats. I guess this eye is in the wrong position too. If I'm looking at it, really, be somewhere like right here. Right? Is that wrong? There. Right here. And on this top part. That's why it feels weird. A little bit more forwards. Oh yeah, I'm just correcting things. So now we get the idea of the skull. It's pretty simplified. I didn't really draw the back part, but it's not as important. There you go. So knowing that, I should be able to tunify that. I want to get reference of the lion's musculature on its face now. I usually don't do this because they have hair on them, but if you want to learn it the right way, you'd probably do this. And I'm not saying learn anatomy for everything, just look at it vaguely, draw indications of things, and then you'll understand it a bit better. Especially if you learn human anatomy, like most of the anatomy you find on animals is similar. I do know cats' pectoral muscles tend to fuse with their shoulders to some extent. Kinda weird. Or was it their biceps? There's some weird things going on with cat anatomy that I remember looking at, and I was like, that's kinda odd. But yeah, and all right, cats will have cats. Oh. But yeah, so I guess I could just like do this. I could do down tilted head, and like, you just get the nose. You know, have fun. Their ears look like they come out from the side, and they're also not like normal cat ears. They're like kind of rounded. Kind of neat. So you draw like lion characters and stuff, or not lion, tiger characters. Another thing about most animals is they actually don't have whites in their eyes. Their sclera, which is what that white area is called, is generally like black, brown, or grays. So like humans do tend to look different. Some animals do actually have that though. Like they will randomly have that where they have the whites of their eyes, like my dogs do. And some cats will, and same thing with like apes. Like there are apes that have that, like chimpanzees and stuff. So it's not 100% always there, but it does appear sometimes. It just depends how you want to depict it. I don't know if there are any lions that have white sclera that I know of, or that you could actually see, because their actual pupil is just massive. So I actually didn't do it justice because I'm trying to stylize. Like I'm looking at images of lions right now, and I'll bring one up, but like their pupils are just encompassing their entire eyeball, really. It looks like they have long back teeth too in the real photo. At least this guy does. It's kind of fascinating. Yeah. I also think I drew their nose in the wrong place because I was like thinking about that, not drawing out the lines. I mean, you could even look at Disney, because Aaron Blaise and all those Disney creators or animators were really into animals. In fact, one of them made a comic called Black Sod, which is literally just like animal detectives and stuff, which I find fascinating. I might need to read it at some point. It's kind of funny. You know what I find interesting is how often we'll leave like fangs and stuff out to indicate they're animals, but like in reality they don't actually show when their mouths are closed. They're not saber-toothed cats, so their mouth stays completely closed usually, which is fascinating. Yeah, so like I get a picture, like you'll see it. Like look, their mouth is closed. Like generally almost every animal does not have their teeth straight out all the time. Another neat fact, if you're trying to be realistic, if you're one of those kind of people, one of those cool cats. But yeah, And their lips tend to be black. Another fascinating thing about lions. I don't know what causes that, per se. It's kind of neat to know, though. And then we'll just add the fluff. I'm kind of anthropomorphizing. I shouldn't probably, but yeah. What can you do? I do find that eyeball thing fascinating. Like the fact that their whole eye is just the whole thing. Also, lions, particularly, and other cats, tend to have this like, kind of coloration underneath the eyeball, which I thought was neat. Not sure what causes that. I think I have the ear in the wrong place. It's not quite sitting on the head right. And we're drawing this from an actual view. Like there's a lot of things wrong with this because I didn't draw it correctly on purpose. Like first off, this whole area would be the nose and like face are. Like it wouldn't be up here, it would actually be down here. Because it's the front area. Second off, things about noses I learned from sculpting is they tend to come like inwards. Like if you look at that image and they have like kind of the loop. Like we do with our noses. But like it's kind of like that. And then they have like their philtrum is split. Like we don't have this kind of like line going into our lips and stuff. But like humans can have it. Like some people are born with it. It's called a cleft lip. But it's not usually present. I think it's fascinating. It's just like a lot of things that we just don't have. And now it's looking more lion-like, see? Because I like moved the thing to the correct area. It's funny how Disney will like tend to add eyes to their characters with just like whites. Like they just make them like human eyes. I find that kind of fascinating. But yeah. I don't know how much of this side fur you would actually see, really. I don't think you'd see a lot at all. I kind of want it to flare out though, like a madman. I have to fix this side, but yeah. Let's think about that. I'd be like... Reset. And then their kind of jaw is like inside the fur. It's kind of neat. This is the mane. You know what I find fascinating is some cats, other than lions, have manes. That is kind of nutty. Like there's like a domestic cat that has a mane or something. So I was like, what? Yo. It's wild. Literally. There you go. There's your cat thing. I can make a cat man. That'd be fun. I'm going into furry territory. Oh. But yeah, I don't care. I could add the whiskers actually. Like there's lots of small details that cats have. Even Tom and Jerry has whiskers. And like those small details that you pick up on will like sell a drawing to feel more believable. I'm not saying it is like realistic. It's not. Like mine is definitely not. Does it have elements of realism though? Yeah, it does actually. Because I'm using actual skulls and photos, and then learning what that is. Like that I can add that realism. I don't know if I need those wrinkles. Yeah. Alright, so we got our lion head. I'ma hide these guys. Wrong one. Oh, it is the right one. Let's actually. So there's a cool hotkey in Clip Studio. You can select everything and hit Control G, and it'll set them in a folder. Like it'll put them in their own separate folder. So now I can just instantly, whoop, gone. And then we can draw a kind of cat character based off of lions and like the heads. And I think that'll be it. It's 9:40. I'll probably go after this. And hang out with some cool peeps. I see why they do the muzzle like they do. And they can do humanoid characters this way. Now. Like Disney will do the muzzle like this. I think they make their noses more triangular than I do though. I say Disney, I mean Aaron Blaze or like the animators that worked for Disney. Not necessarily Disney. Because like I feel like Glenn Keane and Aaron Blaze and all this, like all these different names, as well as the older artists that they kind of created the Disney house style, which I kind of find fascinating. Because like you gotta remember, Steamboat Willie was originally their house style at some point, which is not what you associate Disney with. You associate it with things like Tarzan, Lion King, and all that other stuff. And I think that's purely because of the styles. One thing I found fascinating was Atlantis. I still do, because I watched the interview of Mike Mignola, and it turns out he was literally just called up randomly by a Disney like director or person in charge, producer, and just asked like, hey, we're doing this thing, we like your art style, like you want to do it? And he just said yeah. Like he said on that podcast, like that was the most surreal thing he's ever like dealt with. And it's like, yeah, no, like a Disney producer, director, or production person like calling you up and saying, hey, you want to work on this? That has to be surreal. It's like, what? Like what just happened? Like what? How am I here? Anybody got paid for it, but it's still like kind of cool that they respected him that much. Just like, oh yeah, no, like you're gonna do something in your style. That's awesome. I can't say that I've seen that with any other Disney movie, really. That's why I find it fascinating. That was also a time period where like really odd things were happening. Like you have Gargoyles, which is really dark. You have the Goofy movie, which is like very human kind of storytelling for Goofy evolved characters, which fascinates me. I've heard this one before. It's a bit much for me. Let's switch it. Let's go. There we go. But yeah, like that was a wild period where I feel like Disney was just exploring really odd avenues. I thought it was fun. It's like, this is cool. This is storytelling that we haven't seen before. Now it's kind of generic to me. That's my opinion. I think some of it's okay. I like TV animation anyways more. And the reason for that is the storytelling aspect. You can get a lot more done in a series than you could ever with a movie. And technically it is actually cheaper, which is interesting. I think it would be. I don't know though. It could be more expensive. I don't know. It depends on how they're spending money on production stuff. I would like to talk about business. I'll ask, like, if you want to, in the comments, tell me what you want to hear my thoughts on that. I mean, I'm not doing business currently. I haven't done it. I'm not anything special. I just have been looking up and learning about it and figuring out information. Like, that's really it. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm gonna try. But it's gonna be its own thing. Things are feeling better for me. It took a while. A lot of it is just stepping up and deciding to do things again. So, yeah. And actually, since this is a character now, I could probably play with the eyes more. I think it's not like a normal lion anymore. It's like this is its own character. And in fact, I like this enough, I might actually color it. Like, actually make a real drawing out of it. It's not hard for me to do, actually. And I could show the process before I go. I don't know, like, how I would do the whiskers on the eyes. Maybe it'd just be eyebrows that are kind of like vaguely. You got an extra wisp. It'd be fascinating. Cool thing about lions as well, or cats in general, is their eyes are like slits, like this. Because they see, I don't know, like they're hunting, so they're scanning vertically, I think, or something. I can't remember. It's really weird. They also have secondary eyelids, like their eyelids on the front. They're not the only eyelid. They have like side eyelids that close, which is kind of weird. And I know this. I don't know if it's side eyelids. I'd have to think about that again. I think it might just be normal secondary eyelids. But they have secondary eyelids because my cats had that, and when they were like happy when I was petting them, they would like kind of glaze those down, and it was interesting to see. Like those secondary eyelids and those folds would come down, and it's kind of nutty. It's like, whoa, you're like you're like a little alien. You're like a little alien cat. So that was kind of neat to see. Sadly, I don't have those cats anymore. But they lived a good life, and I feel like I respected them when they passed. Yeah. So we're gonna change this drawing. We're gonna go into a different mode, and we're gonna turn it into black lines. How do I do that? I'm going to link at that layer, and I'm going to literally grab the layer and then change the thing down. Boop. Oh look, it's a drawing now. And now I can color it if I want to, and I will actually. I think I'll get the reference up and like kind of color pick because I'm lazy. One thing about color I realized is that the things that painters do don't apply to every type of art, I thought, which was interesting. It's mainly because I saw the color choices in cartoons, and I was like, that's not all value based, which is interesting. But I think they get around it with line art because the values aren't they're not light, they're not dark usually. Like they sparingly use dark values on purpose. Probably because of that, like they would muddle too much of the artwork. That's kind of weirdly fascinating to know. Because that means that line in cartoons and stuff is like more important than the values. Although the values do matter in some things. I don't know how the colorists in animation choose their colors, but I find it really fascinating and something I never even thought about. And it really shows you how much work colorists will put into things. Because it is its own separate job usually. I don't know how you get into that world either. That's another nutty thing I think about. It's like, How the heck did they get a position like that in the first place? That's wild. I'm gonna try to make his nose lighter. I don't want it lost. I don't know why. I'm not gonna keep his nose like that. It's only indicated around the bottom and like side areas. So I'll probably just do this and I'll go back to the color. I don't know if that's a good idea though, but it feels lighter. Oh, it is lighter. Oh, that's weird. Or, well, this is a case where I'll just make my own color up. That way I can just do it correctly. I'd rather not wait. I'll give him like yellow. You have like kind of the same fur or like just golden brown. Just lighten it up. This is what I mean by values or neat, is because I chose lighter values, he'll pop and show up more. But that's not the case with with all kind of drawings or things. And because his eyes are technically his pupils, I can just make them one color. Like, I guess everything's that kind of color. I'm gonna make them like a little bit more poppy. There you go. And then it's like, oh, yo, like, this guy's kind of scary. Like, I can make him red or yellow. I generally like yellow because it's like, oh, yeah, like that works. Yeah. This will be the end, maybe even, dare I say it, the thumbnail. See ya.